hey, I found that there's more than the Solari.
Yeah.
And Leona responds with, hold up. If there are more than the Solari, there's the Solari, and there are heretics. So you need to cool down with the heresy.
Welcome to Casuals of Runeterra, episode 19. I'm your host, Ryan, here with your other host, Hetch.
What's going on?
We're here. We're still in Targon. We're still climbing the mountain, tripping balls. As we see into the unknown.
Oh, what a start.
I know. Before we get there, housekeeping. So obviously, listen to us anywhere and follow us on Twitter. That's the best way to keep up to on episodes. And that's at podcastcore, that's COR, and the same thing for our email at gmail.com if you want to reach us there for any comments or questions. And please follow, short review, comments, all that stuff really helps the show grow and get out there. We've been growing like crazy, which is cool. And definitely go out and support the other podcast we talk about on this show because they're doing great work and it's great to see the community growing and even, Runeterra, like that team as well, reaching out to the content creators to get them involved. So,
yeah, spread the love. Like you guys have already done a great job of it. Keep it going.
Yeah, it's good fun, and we don't want to stop. So
never. Like even if we got to downgrade to slow speed spells, just keep it rolling, guys. I want to see all that mana used every turn. We're not banking spell mana on this podcast.
So for this episode, bring your friend into the light and bestow the blessing of Casuals of Runeterra.
I thought I was safe. Why do I always think I'm safe and then you do this crap?
State of the game. So what I'm playing this week is actually Quinn and Misfortune. So I haven't played Quinn at all since she's been released, right? I wasn't very interested in the Scout at the beginning, but I want to give it a shot, and it currently is a top tier deck, and this is all I have time to play. And I'm trying to grind out the end of the season, right?
Yes, come to the dark side with Hedge.
But yeah, this Misfortune Quinn deck's pretty fun. It's kind of the Bannerman style, very creature heavy, only plays a few spells. And the goal is to get in there quick, and then in the middle to late game, go wide so you can get that last bit of damage in on the ground. And it's fun. I mean, it gets the job done. It's really well positioned against the other decks that are currently being played, like mid-range. Control has no chance against it. So I've been having a good time with that.
None.
What are you playing?
I first just want to be so excited that you're playing Quinn. I've been after 3 episodes in a row of me just saying I'm playing Scouts again. I'm playing Scouts again. I'm glad that you've joined me here. So
Face is the place, man. Face is the place.
Amen. I've switched over into a deck that kind of fell out of favor, but I didn't play it while it was popular because I'm a hipster and I'm edgy. But I switched over. Been playing a Darius Thresh deck that used to be rolling around. So you're using a lot of the early pressure and value that Shadow Isles can get just from stuff dying over and over again, and just the goal is to try to level up Thresh and chip down your opponent to 10 health so that a big old Darius comes out, and it's a lot of fun. I've also been kind of just more dicking around with more traditional decks than more net decking because my brain creativity wise is trapped in all these new cards. It's I want these new cards. I must save my willpower for when Targon drops. Only net decks now.
It's gonna be exciting, man. Well, let's move into our main topic then after that, which is Bright Light. We're talking about Leona.
We put in that Lana draw on it. Let's talk about Leona.
Let's go ahead and hop into the spell. What spell you got here?
All right. Okay. We may have mentioned on this podcast before that there is someone we dislike, and that someone is Ladros. We want Ladros gone. We want the creator of Ladros fired. We want the creator of Ladros to be smeared in the annals of Runeterra lore forever. And with the release of Targon and the spoilers for Leona's cards, we are given the cleansing light to wipe the stain of Ladros off of the face of the earth, and the spell Sunburst. So
the timing couldn't be better either because he's no longer played.
Yeah, right. Like we finally got to a point where like people, it's like, okay, the game is moving too fast to really have to worry about Ladros anymore, and now we get a Ladros answer. So I guess thanks, guys. But Sunburst is a 6 mana slow spell card that is deal 6 damage to a unit with new keyword Daybreak. And Daybreak takes into effect if it is the first card you play for the turn. So Daybreak instead silence that unit and deal 6 to it. So this one is unique. It is silencing only for a turn. I think this was the first one of the spoiled cards that shows silence only for the turn. I know at the point of recording they have a couple more out like it, which as silencing just for a turn gives a little more play around and kind of also is going to limit the weird reactions to other cards like the combo of Detain with Purify that Demacia shows to just like, okay, you're never getting this guy back now. So that is already kind of cool. It's kind of unique. The other thing that's really unique to this card is it silence a unit, not a follower, a unit. So I know a lot of people have been looking at this as kind of exciting to really silence champions, which hasn't been done before. And I think that's possibly why they're only doing the silence only for a turn instead of just permanently, because they've always shown that they want champions to always have their power. But this kind of shows like putting it into curb. But I like the competitive bit of me is already looking at 6 mana slow speed. I don't know why. Like why slow speed with a 6 mana spell like creature target card. And it's it's slow speed, silence, and 6 damage. Like this is really giving you that idea of putting a magnifying glass over a bed of ants and watching the ants catch on fire. Like it is complete annihilation. So it's on flavor, but is it going to see play? Bilgewater got Scrap Shot, which is a 7 mana fast speed.
Never seen, yeah.
And you only see that in expeditions.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I love it because I hate Ladros? Absolutely.
the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Amen to that.
So this takes us to our follower for this episode. And it's Ravoon, Daylight's Spear. This card, first of all, the art on this thing is like the art across the board has been insane. We've talked about that plenty, but this one is just like dope. Like this is a great named follower art.
It's so cool. It looks so good.
And it's also slightly confusing for some people. So Ravoon is a 5/5/4/5 who has a Daybreak trigger that creates a Daylight card in hand. And then he makes Daylight always active while in play. So instead of Daybreak, where it has to be the first card, once you play him, you get the trigger if he's first. And then everything that's played while he's on the board has that state effect of it being Daylight, so they all get the triggers. And with the graphics, it seems like it shows all in your hand when it's active or not. And we'll see this also when we get to the Lunari.
Because if I remember right from like the videos, it kind of looks like the Plunder effect in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like the Ravoon is going to like, if you're going to play Daybreak, it already seems like an auto include, just that the value of getting 2 Daybreaks in a turn could just be backbreaking.
Yeah. So I think the flavor here too is also maybe a little bit of digging, but his name being Ravoon, Ra being the Egyptian sun god, which might be at play here because there is so much of a religious aspect to Solari or Solari. How do you say it? It's
I have
Solari, right?
always said Solari.
Okay. It
And
sounds more religious if you say Solari. Solari sounds like an ice cream spot or something.
oh man, yeah, let's head up to Solari and get that froyo. Um, yeah,
So
the name, like I will spoil a little bit, but like the Ravoon does kind of go into some Targon language. So
okay,
yeah, like
we'll get
we can
there.
touch on it later. We can touch
Yeah,
on it later. I
and
can't
and
spoil everything for
and we're
you.
about to hop into the Queen of the Sun right now. As we, a disclaimer is that because her and Diana's stories do cross over completely, it's going to be similar to like the Freljord episodes where we will have some content about her, but from the perspective of Leona, obviously. So go ahead and give us that juiciness.
All right, so Leona. Um, all right, so Leona is someone who is a child that grew up within the Order of the Solari, from a very young age. And to really kind of, I mean, just a quick tidbit of the Solari, because there is a good bit of lore that goes a little bit deeper, because the Solari is an organization that kind of is effectively the government of Mount Targon, or the Targon region. So the Solari are an organization that worship the sun, and they view that all source of light comes from the light of the sun, and any other light is false. So the sun is life, and everything else is a heretic. So
Sounds healthy.
it sounds very healthy. The closest comparison that I can think of would be more like the going back into like the 1300s and the pagans versus the Catholic Church. Like it's like obviously it's like pagan already just has like this negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there are the Solari and there are heretics.
And she gets completely indoctrinated in it, baby.
Yes.
Marinates in it.
So Leona grew up in the region that is controlled by a tribe of the Solari that is the Rakhor, and they are a tribe that would raise up warriors to defend the light of the sun. That they were called the Rahorak. All right, and that is kind of where we get that name of Ravoon. Like the Ra with Rah is more with the Rahorak. Like it kind of shows his title within the Rahorak. And Leona, ever since she was a child, showed a great affinity at both physically and from a
Spiritual
mental
connection.
point, a
Yeah.
spiritual connection to the Order of the Solari. So she was groomed to be a leader within the Rahorak.
Yeah.
Now, while she is growing up, she sees that there is an outcast among them, which was an orphan child by the name of Diana.
Never heard of her.
Never heard of. None of us have. None of us have. Not until we watch any trailers or tune into the next episode of the Casuals of Runeterra. Check that out. All right. So Diana is outcasted because she's a very curious child. She is very smart and she's very astute, but she's constantly asking questions that are only leading to more questions. And the Order of the Solari, especially all the teachers that are raising Leona and Diana, they view this more as a dangerous behavior. So they begin to shun her. They begin to try to say, stop asking those questions and just accept what we tell you.
Yeah.
And the only person that reaches out to communicate with Diana is Leona. And this leads to a very close friendship between the two. They find themselves staying up past curfew just to discuss about their beliefs, try to convince the other what they believe is right.
Yeah.
And this doesn't harbor any ill will towards each other. They actually relish this constant back and forth, and they relish each other's time together.
Yeah.
And this continues well into their adolescence and continues to a point where Diana begins to find more things. Leona doesn't know these things because all Diana tells her is, hey, I found that there's more than the Solari.
Yeah.
And Leona responds with, hold up. There are more than the Solari. There's the Solari, and there are heretics. So you need to cool down with the heresy. Because that's all that Leona's been taught. There's Solari and heretics.
Exactly.
So slow down. And that kind of ends there in Leona's mind. To Leona, she believes that, okay, like, you've accepted that this is heresy and now we've stopped. And that continues for a couple more years. She believes that Diana has left that train of thought, and even though she's still questioning, it's fine.
She goes full Ezreal and goes on an adventure.
She puts on her gauntlet and she essence ships out of there. But so one night, Diana leaves the camp that they are growing up in, and Leona realizes that Diana's climbing to the summit of Mount Targon. And consumed with worry for her friend and wanting to make sure that her friend is safe, Leona climbs the mountain.
And quick side note, if you guys haven't listened to the Tarek episode, listen to the Tarek episode, because he too climbed it, and it was hell.
Yeah, it was absolute hell.
He was a grown man.
And here's a real spoiler when we get into the Diana story. Diana climbs to the mountain, and it was hell. If you've listened to the Tarek episode, this is not going to come as a surprise, but something happens at the summit of Mount Targon. There, yeah. Like, you don't just get to the top and put a flag up there and take a picture for the gram. Like, there's something happens. And
what happens, Hedge?
What happens? So Leona crests the summit, and when she sees there is this pale light and the shadow of her friend screaming in agony.
Yeah.
She goes to try to save her friend, and then she is consumed by a fiery light. But instead of being fully consumed, she feels the light entering her body, and then she realizes that she has become essentially like the fulfillment of prophecy for the Solari, or what they call the aspect of the sun.
Yeah.
So she's like, I've become the aspect. And she notices this because all of a sudden her robes are replaced by heavy plate mail.
As is tradition.
Like, could you imagine just like be chilling here and then all of a sudden, all right, be adorned with about 50 pounds of gear? I don't know about you. I got bad knees because I'm fat. So that'd be rough, dude.
Oh man.
So she realizes that she has become the aspect, and she looks up, and Diana is wearing armor, but it is in deep contrast to what she's wearing. And Diana looks at her and goes, we should join our forces together.
Yeah.
Having no idea what the heck is going on, she's like, hey, like, okay, look, I've got the Solari on me, and there are the Solari and heretics.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to take you back and speak with the elders so we can fix this. Yeah. We must fix the heresy. All right, and it is with Diana rejecting to return to the Solari that Leona realizes, hey, I'm also holding a sword and shield. And Diana's holding a sword. And then bam, conflict on the Mount of Targon that ends with Diana having a chance for a killing blow, but she decides not to kill, and she retreats. Leona tries to go back to her people to tell them what happened, and when she returns, it's nothing but bodies.
Chaos.
And all that she can
surmise.
Story
in Runeterra.
A very familiar story in Runeterra.
Never go get groceries, because when you come back,
like, don't get groceries. If you got a buddy system, don't leave your buddy.
Accountability buddy.
Yeah, don't leave your accountability buddy. All right. If you're going into a warehouse, don't do it. Like just stay at the tavern and drink and listen to the crazy guy from the Freljord.
I think the best part about her returning and seeing this carnage and it being associated with Diana because she's gone, right, is that even in that moment, Leona's like, I want to try to help her, right?
Yes.
I want to not go seek her down and kill her. I want to find her and help her control the aspect, because maybe it wasn't her who was doing it. Maybe it was the power inside of her.
Yeah, and it also, like, I do really enjoy, like, they show a good bit as far as from Leona's perspective that she doesn't know what's happening to Diana, like, because Leona's reaction isn't even like, let me help you control the aspect, because she doesn't even know that Diana has an aspect. She understands that she has the aspect because all she's ever been taught is that the sun is the only source of light.
Yeah.
And because she's the aspect, she can save Diana.
Yeah. Let's talk about the card and how that plays into it, with how she uses Daybreak, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, like, so the Daybreak on Leona is sick.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of gush here a little bit, because I am excited for some aggro times.
Yeah.
And oh boy, like both of Leona and Diana are gonna be opening a lot of aggro doors.
Yeah.
And Leona's is gonna be exciting because she is a 4-mana 3/5 Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. So obviously aggro implications, stun on a stick.
Faces the place.
I'm good with that. Faces a place. But also, this is the first support, or the first kind of champion with stun that's not Yasuo.
Yeah.
Like potential Yasuo support. Oh, you don't have to play Noxus? What? So, like, just that. Just her vanilla card is super exciting. But, of course, she's a champion. So she levels up by activating Daybreak 4+ times.
Mm-hmm.
It does not specify she has to see the activations.
Yeah.
So that's already really exciting, too. And her level up turns her into a 4/6 Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy.
Yep.
All right. And
stuns for everybody.
Stuns for everybody. And since we're already talking about the cool art and the look of our boy Ravoon, could you imagine flip Leona with Ravoon, stun.
And the effect looks really cool, which I think they did on purpose, because we're going to be seeing it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to see it, and I think like just that good visual to it, like, adds to that satisfaction too. Yeah. Like, it's because I know I'm already, like, I'm one of those losers that kind of like tries to put a one of Guile in some of my decks because there's something satisfying about you've only got one blocker.
So since you're so excited, this kind of leads us into not our challenge of the day, but today's a question of the day.
Oh no.
Who do you rock with? Are you Solari or Lunari?
I don't know. Oh no.
Deep in your soul, deep in your heart of hearts, who do you align with? Because it's obviously a team game. You're taking longer on this than some of the most difficult challenges I've ever given.
This one's tough. This one's really tough because, like, play style, I feel like I'm Solari, but lore-wise, I feel like I'm Lunari. This is rough.
So I gotta choose and let you know. But play-wise, Diana was my girl when I played League, so it's I couldn't stand Leona, and I played support. So that lets you know how upsetting she was to me. And now having the more lore behind them, even then, it's still like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the knight. It's where I like to dwell and get my vengeance.
All right, well, you kind of helped me solidify my choice, because if we go back to like when I played,
yeah,
I'm a Leona player.
is our last episode. Thank you for listening to the Castles of Runeterra podcast.
No!
And we will not be back soon with the next episode.
No! How can it end like this?
I'm just joking. But yes, that kind of concludes it for today. Like we said, we'll pick up everything with the Diana episode, and then future episodes past that point, we'll go deeper down the Solari, Lunari hole about individual stories, which will be cool. But yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
Take care, everybody.
Episode.